Could you take us back to the beginning? How did you discover your passion for storytelling?
Oh boy, probably when I was younger, I watched the Home Alone movies. I think that's probably where it started. And I wanted to be Kevin McAllister, of course.
Mm,
So I wanted to be him, and so I knew then that I wanted to be an actor. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. So I never really got to participate in anything until high school, and then after that, I fell into musical theater, and here we are today.
yeah, that actually might be the answer to this next question. But when you look at your career as a whole, who or what has had the biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
Oh, professionally, my one of my best friends is named Lisa Michelle Cornelius, and we actually ended up doing the Broadway tour of Godspell like 10 or 12
Oh,
years, maybe even longer actually. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to date myself too much, but so her and I were on that show together and we were touring across America and Canada. And then we kept in touch, and she's one of the only ones I kept in touch with since. And we started helping each other out with self tapes, and she's just so kind and wonderful and so helpful. And she also looks at the industry with hope and joy, which is something I don't necessarily do. I can venture towards bitterness pretty easily, and to see someone who can tackle this industry, it's insane. It's hard with a
yeah.
smile on her face. It's just she's been so inspiring to me, and honestly, I'm her biggest fan, and I think she might be my biggest fan. So I gotta give it to her. But before that, I would say my high school drama teacher, Michelle Bannock, because she was kind of the only one that was like, "Hey, small town, nobody thinks that this is a possibility, but I do, and I think you should go for it."
Perfect segue to this next question, but you got your start doing theater. What's that transition been like for you going from the stage to the screen, and how have those different mediums lent themselves to one another?
Oh, well, okay. So I always wanted to be in film and TV. That was kind of like the goal. But theater, musical theater, that was all that was available in my town, right? I've never even heard of somebody being a film and TV actor. Um, but I was pretty good at it. So I went to college, and then so I did musical theater for like 9 years. And then because it came so easy to me, and I don't know why, but somehow it came easy to me, I thought, oh, film and TV is gonna be a piece of cake. Watch me go. But I didn't realize how much harder it was, because I would say the pool of talent is significantly larger. So you're competing against way more people,
Mm,
and film and TV, it's so much more about look
yeah.
sometimes than it is anything else, right? And there's like 1,000 of you, so to stand out has to be you have to be someone special. And because I started really, really late, I hadn't made any of the connections yet. So it took me, well, I'm probably on 5 years of like pushing really hard for it. I mean, that's still no time compared to a lot of people. I understand that, but I think it was a bit of a shock to my system, having gone from like kind of a successful theater career and where I
Yeah.
had kind of accomplished everything I wanted to within a certain amount of time, and then it was a shock. But it kind of made me work harder. It kind of made me try harder and get more invested and try to meet people who could help and build those relationships. And I'm actually really glad it happened that way, because I'm not sure I would have been ready when I started and when I thought I was ready.
Mm. And you've had so much success already in the past 5 years. When you look back, is there a particular moment that stands out?
There's a couple. So when I got to be on Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, just going in and then having a custom red suit made, and
Yeah.
the red ones always die, right? So I'm sitting there being like, how cool is this? Because Star Trek was always on our TV growing up. So it was so weird to be part of that universe a little bit. And then watching it, I was part of Star Trek. That's crazy. Even though it was smaller, it was like I'm part of that universe now. And I think that for me was like a wow, like maybe I could do this. This is pretty cool.
You're also now one of the stars of Glamorous. How did this project originally come across your desk, and what was it about Parker and the script that resonated with you?
So actually, the script came, and or sorry, the audition came, and I had canceled it because it was a Netflix show produced by CBS. And I'm a gay Canadian actor. I just thought this never happens. It's a series regular, and as Canadian actors, we don't generally get opportunities like this.
Mm.
Um, and I had a wedding to go to. My train was like 3 hours after I got the audition, so I was like, I don't have time. I'm not going to book it anyway. So I just canceled. But then somebody called me. They're like, listen, I really think you should do it. So I was like, so grudgingly, I put it on tape, right? And then I was like, oh no, the casting director is never going to ask me to audition again after that one. But I was wrong. I was in Italy, and then I got the call literally while I was eating pizza, and they said that I had a call back for Glamorous, and I didn't know which one it was because you have so many auditions, right? But
Yeah.
when I figured it out, I was just kind of in shock because it was such a huge thing, right? It was the first time I had been through the process of that big of a callback and then chemistry read and all of that. So yeah, when I finally read the character, when I spent time actually focusing on the script, I just remember being like, okay, this isn't too far out of the realm of like who I am. It was a pretty easy transition, an easy pick. I knew I could nail it, and that's why I put so much time and effort into like just being as natural as possible and doing it. And I love the role of Parker, and I'm so blessed that I got to do it, especially as a Canadian actor, right?
Yeah, when we're first introduced to Parker, he seems like the definition of perfection and has everything going on in his world. But as the series goes on, we learn more about his insecurities and vulnerabilities, which you brought so much nuance to. As an actor, how did you create the space for yourself to dive into those kind of more vulnerable moments?
Honestly, I think I kind of excel in vulnerability. And uh, yeah, that's my favorite stuff. My favorite scripts are the ones that it's just like there's more behind the words kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I actually find comedy to be the hardest for me, even though I can do quick wit and all that stuff. But sometimes it's like I find myself very dry. But this kind of stuff, I don't know. It resonates so well with me, and getting to have a character that has that turning point, kind of that flipping point, is like a dream, honestly, for any actor, right? So you're not just like painted in one way. It's like you really
yeah.
get the full circle, right? Even with a light show like Glamorous, my character got so much, right? We got the flirtation, fun, charming, and then you got the jerk, right? And so I was very lucky that I got to show range in the character.
And you have Miss Benny have such incredible chemistry. What was that collaboration like working with her and bringing the ups and downs of that dynamic to life?
It was the easiest thing I've ever done. Like the chemistry that we had on screen is the same that we had backstage, like or behind the scenes. Um, it instantly connected with Miss Benny. It's really hard for anyone not to connect with her because she's just so kind and she's so giving. Um, Honestly, our first kiss, the director came up to us and he was like, how many kissing scenes have you done before? We were like, no, this is our first one. And he was like, what? Like that was amazing. Just because it was just so natural, right? And
Yeah.
the flow was so good. And Benny's a star. So I felt I was in safe hands with her. And I guess it felt like she felt the same way with me. So it was the chemistry was always there. It was perfect, you know?
Yeah, you're also a standout in the series as well. Was there a particular scene that you were really excited for audiences to see now that it's available on Netflix?
There's a couple for different reasons. Okay, the first one is obviously the butt scene because I think it's hilarious. At the like episode one, it's like bam, there's Parker, and bam, there's Parker's butt, right? And I've never got to show my butt on screen. I was really excited about it. Wasn't nervous at all. And then of course in episode 8, there's that turning point where he kind of goes from charming fun to you know the mean guy, right?
Yeah.
So there's that one little monologue right at the end of episode 8, which I just loved because it was something I kind of got to dig my teeth into. Uh, oh, and then episode 10
Yeah.
with the can I say it? Has everybody watched it? So episode 10 when I'm dating myself.
That
I
that
got to
scene is
check so many
absolutely
boxes. I got a Lindsay Lohan moment,
That scene is hysterical. This is also the longest that you've lived with a character. Has anything surprised you about this overall experience? What have you learned that you've now going to bring over to your next project?
Um, I've learned that not to be so neurotic about scenes. Every time I kind of beat myself up every time I would mess something up or mess a take up. But then you realize like you do it 7 million times, right? The director's gonna cut whatever they want
Yeah.
from what they have. So like be easier on yourself and really enjoy the process, enjoy that you're working, because that's something that we don't get to do very often, like even the most successful actors have so much time off in between things, right? So I definitely, I will say that like I felt incredible going in. I was very nervous for it to be such a big role on such a big network, but eventually I realized how it worked because I got to spend more time, and then I was able to kind of relax and kind of enjoy it more probably after the first few weeks. But yeah, it's next time I'll go in with I will go in way more relaxed and way more understanding of how the whole thing comes together.
Great answer. This industry has made really slow progress in terms of representation. And often when you have queer characters, their storylines are tied to their coming out story or trauma. But with projects like Glamorous, we're seeing that much needed step forward in this evolution of representation. Have you had time to reflect on your own contributions through playing characters like Parker and being a part of series like this?
Yes, I think it's how cool is it to watch a show where everyone's gay?
Yeah,
Everyone is gay, but there's so many different types of gay, just like there is in our world, right? And like nobody cares, nobody talks about it. We're not talking about the trauma that comes along with it, which I think is important to be talked about, right? But we've seen it so many
yeah,
times. So to be able to watch a show full of queer people, all different shapes, sizes, colors, it's like, and no comments on it. They're just regular people doing
yeah,
regular things, and it's how cool is that? How lucky are we that we got to be a part of that?
yeah. Continue to blaze that trail. I've got one final question
Yeah.
for you.
Yep.
Outside of this project, what's next for you? And I think this is going to be such a breakout moment for you. What's left on your bucket list?
Oh, my bucket list. I want to be, I want to jump on some HBO series or Showtime series,
Mm,
something dark and heavy would be really fun. I'd also love to be like on a cowboy show, but I'm more looking forward to seeing what doors open from this. Um, because I didn't know leading up to the show's release. I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to like me or if anything's going to happen. But the positive response I've gotten, well, mostly
yeah,
positive response I've gotten, I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to do this forever. Maybe this is it. And so I'm really actually looking forward to seeing what comes next. And something dark and heavier would be really fun. But hey, throw me in another fun one too. I would absolutely love that as well. So
love it.
anything. Basically, the question is, I'll take anything, or the answer.